Welcome to the Topic of the Month with Kim Wardlow, an AINC original podcast. It's not easy being blind or going through vision loss, but we'll help you navigate these waters. Press on. Push forward. You've got this.
Hello, thank you for joining us for this month's Topic of the Month. I'm your host, Kim Wardlow, the Executive Director at the Audio Information Network of Colorado. And we're in January now, our second week of January, and our topic this month is independent living. And as I mentioned last week, we're talking to different people each week about different aspects of living independently. And this week, I'm really excited because we have Melissa Fishburn, who's one of our board members, our newest board member, with us today. And she's going to be sharing some of her experiences with us. So we will be right back and talking with Melissa.
This is Topic of the Month with Kim Wardlow. If you enjoy what you hear, please visit AIN Colorado for more shows, news, and articles read by our amazing staff and volunteers. If you have a question for Kim or would like to recommend a guest for future shows, please visit aincolorado.org/podcast-guest. Thanks for listening and enjoy.
Hi, Melissa. Thank you for joining us today for the topic of the month. How has your year started?
Thank you for having me. The year is starting out great. Looking forward to completing all my New Year's resolutions, which usually never happens. But I'm very excited to be here and speak with the AIN community.
Well, great. Well, we're in January, and so the question I ask guests, is there something in particular, since we're doing a topic of the month, is there something that you like about this month of January?
I like that it's a fresh start to a new year, even though, technically the calendar's just rolling around. It kind of gives you that mindset of starting fresh, having new goals, and just taking it all in, the experiences from last year and just how to become a better you in the new year.
In the new year. I agree. I like that fresh start and new goals for the year. So as I mentioned, you are our newest AINC board member.
Yes.
And you've been serving on our programming advisory committee for the past year, which we really appreciate. And this program is a product of that committee. Would you like to say anything about your involvement in that? You don't have much experience yet as a board member, but you do have a few months now as a PAC member.
Yeah, I'm very honored to be on the PAC and now the board. I feel like AINC is a very positive organization. I see how much effort and heart and soul the staff and other volunteers and board members put into their work and their collaborations. I really see a positive effort of really wanting to help everybody in the disability community. And that's what I'm all about. Positive change and helping people that otherwise might not know how to navigate, everyday society, and also for people to have opportunities where maybe they wouldn't usually in regular society, and for nobody to feel like they don't belong. I really feel like AINC gives that, everybody matters, everybody's important perspective. And that's why I'm very happy to be a part of this organization.
Well, we are very happy to have you as part of the organization and now the board with some exciting things coming up in this next year.
Thank you.
You're also really active and have been active in different commissions and other types of commissions and boards as well. Are you currently on a transportation as an RTD?
I am. I'm on the RTD Paratransit Committee, which meets every other month, and they're coming up with a lot of great things that I'm sure some have been released on the RTD website and other things to come. It's really there's really been a great transformation in making people's lives that can't drive because of their disability really help them feel independent and give them some confidence to get around, with not being able to drive on themselves. And I feel like the team we have at RTD now has really listened to us and really takes us seriously as community members, and that we add to, the transit system and their well-being as well as their company and their network.
Mm-hmm.
So I really appreciate that. And again, I think it's going to be an important board to be on. I've only been part of 2 meetings now, but I already see positive change and a lot of positive change coming this year in 2023.
That's great to hear. I mean, obviously, transportation is so important for a person to be able to be independent and to live life.
Yes.
Which is a great segue. That is our topic for this month, independent living. And I thought we could discuss a little bit about being independent in terms of your personal space, your home, and how you organize that. And you've been without sight since birth. Is that correct?
Yes, I have partial sight. I'm at the point right where you cut off to be considered legally blind.
Mm-hmm.
So I've never known what it's like to have 20/20 vision or drive or do anything that fully sighted people do.
Mm-hmm. So these things are probably just everyday life to you, but for someone who maybe has lost some vision later in life and now they're trying to figure out, well, how do I organize my kitchen or my home, or how do I know what clothes match each other so I don't go out and mismatch clothes? Like some of those things that seem so basic, but many people rely on their sight for those things. And I'm just wondering if you found things that have helped you just organize your home and your personal space.
Yes, I've always been a fairly organized person, so that really helps a great deal. I have certain drawers and cupboards that I place certain things, and the thing is, I always remember to put them back. If you don't, it can become a problem.
Mm-hmm.
So I would just say building organization skills is key. And also, I'm also colorblind. So when I have different clothing items, I'll hang them in a certain spot in my closet, and I get to know their texture and stuff when I get them out of the wash. So I can say, okay, this is my purple shirt, this is my red shirt. And if I buy things of the same color, not the same color, I'm sorry, same pattern, 2 of the same shirt, different colors, I'll do something to the tag, like kind of tear the tag off of one, or put a slit in the tag, something that defines that item that I know.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't used it, but I've also heard of people using identifiers such as something called a pen friend, I believe.
I've heard of that too.
Yeah, where they put a certain label on it and it speaks what the item is. There's also helpful apps now like Be My Eyes and other apps like, I believe, Seeing AI.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I've been lucky where I have a great memory. That's something that's come into play with me having vision loss my whole life, is that I have a great memory. I've built up my cognitive skills and I remember things, but I know that's not always the case. So um, people can put Braille notes around, which, Braille's a good key for people to learn. Using the new adaptive software that I just spoke of, the apps, and also putting notes in your iPhone, since iPhone is already standard with VoiceOver built in. You can put notes in your iPhone and do things like that to remind yourself of everyday tasks, set alarms. Things like that are helpful to me too.
Mm-hmm. Well, it sounds like there's options for people just depending how comfortable they are with different technology. So there are definitely options to use technology, but for some things like marking your clothing so you know something that's the same shirt, for example, but different colors that you know those, it could be something just very, very simple, and it doesn't have to be a techie thing. It could just be a physical marking. So
right.
I think sometimes we get so focused on technology, and there are wonderful options, but we forget about some of the low tech things, or even if a person does have some vision, even things like contrast
Agreed.
in a kitchen or things like that can be helpful as well.
Yes. I do a lot of those things in the kitchen that you just mentioned. We use a lot of bump dots on our appliances, which are very easy to put on. They stick fairly good. They last a while. And put them on the essential buttons and functions that you use on your appliances. That's really helpful tool as well.
And then when you're using the bump dot, so it would identify like a button or knob, but do you ever put them on a specific setting if you have a knob, so you would know how far to turn a knob or something like that?
Yes, we at home currently, we keep on our stove, for example, we keep a bump dot at the medium position so that we know anything left of that is in the low range and anything to the right of that is in the higher temperature.
Mm-hmm.
And we keep our oven standard at 350 and mark the up and down arrows with different texture bump dots. They have different texture bump dots as well.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that. Well, that's useful.
Yes.
Do you ever have issues with screens? Like so many appliances now don't have knobs, and you could put a bump dot where you need to push to change something, but do you ever have issues with the screen itself to know, well, I'm making the temperature go up for a higher setting, but being able to tell when it reaches that setting?
Yes. A lot of the screens on appliances are not accessible at all. And I know this both from commercial appliances and home appliances, that the work in that industry needs to become more accessible. There's not a lot of kind of non-visual notifications. Like a lot of appliances don't have the beeps when you're hitting the button each time.
Right.
And I feel like that should be standard. That shouldn't be something that you have to pay more for a higher quality appliance to get.
Right. Well, and I know here in our studios at AINC, in our kitchen, we have a microwave that talks.
Oh.
But that it's obviously a specialty item, and I think we've had it for years here, but I think it was pretty pricey when we bought it, so it's not necessarily something, that everyone would be able to afford. And it's interesting, but there's differences between it and the regular microwave and just setting things up. It does speak to you, but I know it can be a little bit confusing. You have to learn the sequence of things for it. So I know there are some things that talk, but getting a microwave or something like that talks, I know gets kind of pricey and isn't the common thing.
Well, what's been really helpful in our household is, I can't say her name, but
Right.
it's a certain Amazon product.
A certain smart speaker.
Yeah. ALEXA. I'll say it that way. But we have the oven, and there's features where you can scan barcodes for certain frozen items that it usually has in the catalog,
Mm-hmm.
and it'll automatically set the timer. That's been the most innovative that come out, but there's still, hiccups in it.
Sure.
Like if your internet would happen to be acting funny or
Right.
glitchy. We use it a lot for cooking. We say, what's her name? We say microwave 30 seconds. We say cook at 350 for 20 minutes. It does microwaving, convection cooking, and air frying. So that's been a helpful tool around our home, but we're seeing that that's not being made anymore.
Oh.
After the last few years. And we are looking for other appliances. I've done research lately for replacing our oven because it's getting older. It's almost 3 years old.
Right.
And there's another brand, I believe, out there that they're recommending called Kasori, I believe. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. But I do feel more accessible appliances are coming available, but we need a lot more work.
Right. One thing I hear folks ask about, and I think people can be curious about, is cleaning, and just kind of knowing. I mean, there's obviously everyone knows their general cleaning that they need to do, but if there's a particular spot or something, but just in the category of kind of household cleaning or household maintenance, are there things that you choose to have someone else do or help you with?
No, my boyfriend and I pretty much do it all. I've never hired a cleaning service, and I do it. We just know how to feel for dirt. You just have to be more conscious about getting under stuff, just in case you're not seeing something, but it's there. You just be conscious to get all the areas, nooks and crannies, become familiar with the layout of your home, and label things. We buy refillable cleaners, for instance, but we have different heights and shaped of cleaning bottles. And we have the appliances like the cordless vacuum that helps get around and under things. It's more versatile, and stuff like that really seems to make a difference.
Well, and that's a great tip, like the different shapes and sizes of bottles. And again, not high cost or high tech, but just something that you can do day to day.
Yeah, they're very inexpensive on Amazon. You can buy them in multi-packs and label your appliances. Even if you're newly visually impaired, you can, if you're not really proficient in Braille, you can find ways to mark them with different tape, different types of, like if you have, for example, felt around the house, you can tape a piece of that on one.
Mm-hmm.
You can do different textures.
So really, it's just kind of, you can improvise and really just find what works best for you, because it might be different
Right.
for different people.
Make it your own.
Are you in an apartment, or are you in a house where you have yard work and those kinds of things?
We recently moved. We're in an apartment.
So you don't have to worry about mowing lawns or anything, any of those kinds of things.
We're pretty lucky.
That's always nice. That's the advantage of an apartment. The snow shoveling and all the kind of outdoor maintenance is usually included.
Yeah, sometimes they can be a little more pricey than owning a home, having a mortgage, but the plus side is you get, like you just said, all the amenities and all the groundwork done.
Do you have any suggestions or tips for a younger person who is looking at moving out on their own for the first time and maybe having their first apartment and just getting things set up?
I would say make it your own. Have a plan of how you want to organize. Really have a schedule on just staying on top of making sure things are put away in their place where you know where it is and it's easy to find. Make it easy to your daily routine. Like when I first moved recently, I organized things of how in the morning I could just not go back and forth. I would have it in kind of a steady path from getting ready, coming to the kitchen, having my stuff ready to go out the door, have a routine set up, and just make it your own. Don't feel like you have to follow a website, or I mean, it's good to get tips off websites, but don't just use it exactly. Make it, do your own fine tuning and evaluate what furniture works for you. I have a problem always stubbing my toe on things. So evaluate if you're going to buy stuff with sharp edges, things like that we might not otherwise think of.
Yeah, those are great tips and considerations.
Yeah.
And then I guess on kind of a more personal care level, do you have any tips of things like organizing things in your bathroom, or even things like putting on makeup, or those kinds of personal items?
I use a shower caddy in my bathroom, and I'll do it from top to bottom of what I use first. Like, for example, shampoos more at the top, face wash next, body wash after that. So I kind of do it in order, top to bottom, of how I use them.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
That works for me. And makeup, I mark in order of, well, I have since I do have partial sight, what works for me is, since the colors on makeup and seem to be so tiny, I will print a tag with my label maker and wrap it around or put it on the package. As I mentioned earlier, I'm colorblind, so it's a good tool for me too. And put them. I have an organizer with different drawers that I can put eyeshadow, blush in, so I know they're different powders. I do it by what the different makeup is.
Mm-hmm. Well, and you pointed out that some things like putting a label works for you because you have some vision, where someone who had lost more vision or started out without any usable vision might have to adapt in a slightly different way. So it might mean somebody letting them know, well, this is this color of eyeshadow, and then developing a tactile label that they could match with that.
Right. Maybe such as that pen friend I spoke about earlier.
Mm-hmm. I know we're getting towards the end of our time. Is there anything else, Melissa, that you think of in your day-to-day life that just really, as you're going about life at home, or even in work, that really helps you and that you want to be sure folks listening might know about, so they could try it if it seems to be a good fit for them?
I don't really have any more tools per se. I think the main component is just being confident, believing in yourself, knowing that you matter and you have a place to be independent, and whatever you put your mind to, you can't be stopped. And there are people out there that have good resources for you. And there's always things coming down the pipeline. I see that more and more companies are working on accessible technology, and I really do believe the future looks bright for people with disabilities.
It does seem like there's becoming more awareness and more interest in the marketplace in providing some of those things.
Yes.
Or being able to adapt something that wasn't really meant for a person with a disability, but it actually works really well for them, like your AINC device. That tends to be helpful for people.
Yes, it's been really helpful, and Amazon has really done a lot in the accessibility forum.
Well, Melissa, thank you so much for joining us today and just kind of giving some of those day-to-day tips. Sometimes things seem kind of mundane, and this is just how we go through life. But for someone that maybe it's a new experience, or just something somebody hasn't tried before, or hasn't thought to try before, I think you've given some great tips. And tips that are very doable. Some of the ideas of marking or having different size bottles, they're very doable, and they're not high cost. They're not expensive for folks. So I appreciate you doing that and being with us. And I'm really looking forward to working with you both in the programming advisory team and on our board as well into this next year. So thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity, and I look forward to working with all of you as well.
Thanks to all of you for listening. I hope that you find some of these topics and tips, these subtopics and tips within our independent living category this month to be really helpful. And also, I always want to let people know if you have a chance and have time to give us a rating or a comment on whatever platform you use to listen to the podcast, that we really appreciate that, and that's helpful to us. And if you like this podcast, we also have our Aftersight podcast. If you haven't listened to that, I highly recommend that podcast. Penn Street hosts that and has interesting folks every week from all walks of life and different geographies. I know she's been recording with some folks even overseas, and just really getting experiences of people who have vision loss but are doing some exciting things in life. And then we also have Blind Sight, which covers mental health topics each week with our host, Bill Lundgren, who is a licensed psychotherapist. So I highly recommend those if you haven't listened to them already. Thanks for tuning in, and we will be back with a new podcast next week. Thanks.